It kind of sucks that it was released on Netflix because I felt like this would be a really good theatrical experience. Drive-by movies, you're watching
fresh releases.
My name is Blaise.
And I am James.
And this week, we're talking the brand new film, Train Dreams.
After a successful run at the film festivals earlier this year, Train Dreams finally hit Netflix. It's about Robert Grainer, a logger and railroad worker who leads a life of unexpected death and beauty into a rapidly changing America of the early 20th century. So this is a movie that kind of was under my radar for a little bit. I do remember, I'm not sure where it premiered, whether it was like Sundance or Cannes earlier this year. I assume it was Cannes, but I remember a few film talk people talking about how this is their favorite movie that they saw and it's going to be one of their favorite movies of the year. And still hearing that conversation actually currently too. So I'm glad that it wasn't something I was necessarily really interested in, but you know, trying to come up with movies we want to review here. Blaise made the recommendation. And I'm glad he did because I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. What are your thoughts, Blaise?
Yeah, this is one of those where like I was already excited. You know, we're always talking about Joel Edgerton, so anytime he pops up in anything, I know it's at least worth checking out. If it like he made it to the movie, like anything that he picks is usually at least different enough from the previous thing or interesting enough. And yeah, this was one where I felt like when I originally saw the trailer or saw some of the promotional material, I was like, maybe this isn't like the Joel Edgerton movie. But this movie starts and it's like one of those movies that I think it was like late at night. I couldn't sleep or something. I'm like, let me just throw something on. All right, this has the word dream in the title. Maybe it'll help me fall asleep. Dude, I was like electric as soon as this movie started. I felt like I was like jolted with just cinematic excellence, where it was just so like kind of fast moving, like interesting cuts and visuals and stuff in the beginning. And definitely that kind of like slows down a little bit later, but the beginning definitely was just breathtaking and really got me in, and I was just sucked in, and you know, I just started having train dreams after that.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny though, we talk about how much we're enjoying this movie, but also it's not going to be for everyone just because it's dark and depressing and there's not really any fun moments within the movie. Like, of course, like there's a lot of character growth within the movie, but just like, you know, seeing like a lot of the racist moments within the movie, then just seeing a lot of the like loss that Joel Edgerton's going to, his character of Robert, like just the stuff that he loses throughout the movie, not knowing a lot about his past. Like there's not really like any happy moments within this movie. There's of course moments that are just so peaceful and relaxing. Like I don't want to call this like a hangout movie, like movies like Everybody Wants Them. That's like a good example of like a hangout movie. But this is the kind of movie that just like you kind of just put on just to like settle in, relax, and just become enthralled by the environment. I feel like this movie is almost like listening to like a shoegaze album. Shoegaze for me personally is like an album or music that I like to listen to when it's just like I want to relax. I just want to turn off the lights, close my eyes, and just let images pop into my head. And that's what this kind of movie feels like. It feels like I'm listening to just a very earthy, spacey album, despite it not being sci-fi by any means.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It feels to me like poetic in a way. I think a lot of it, the fact that it really leans on this narration throughout the movie, and I'm a sucker for narration, I've said it, and I think sometimes we do clash on that. Like I do like narration more than you, but this one I feel like because the narration was almost poetic at times and it was just so well done, it's not actually Joel Edgerton's voice, but it's another actor. I forget his name, but he also did the voice for the audiobook as well. So if you did enjoy this movie, the audiobook is enjoyable as well. And I think it's only about a couple hours because the book is actually only like, I think it's under 200 pages. So this is a short novella. But yeah, like I thought that narration is really kind of what gave it that vibe that you're talking about. It's not like a hangout vibe, but I know what you're saying, where it was like kind of like lulling you into a sense of comfort, even though a lot of the things that Robert Grainer is dealing with are loss, mourning, and coming to terms with just the hand that he's been dealt. But I think that that's what made the film so enjoyable, even though it is, like you're saying, it's really sad, like at times, but it does have some beautiful moments throughout it that really allow you to enjoy the movie, even though it is, mainly about loss and mourning.
Yeah, and a movie like this, like, this is a movie that, like, probably a lot of people might use the website, Does the Dog Die, or something.com. I think that's the name of the website. Well, granted, this movie doesn't advertise that there's a dog in it, but just, like, that was one of the moments within the movie where just, like, it kind of felt, like, more upbeat and just gave you symbol of hope. And, of course, it's a very symbolic moment within the movie as well, too, without getting too much into spoilers. Like, I mean, but kind of one of the main things that happens is kind of spoilerific, that just, like, kind of it leads to what the character is trying to do and like grow as a human being and just experience life after so much loss that he's experienced and stuff. So this movie can be relatable despite like, it taking place a long time ago. This movie just like captures just like that everyday life of just all of us just working too hard, going through life, just kind of ignoring stuff that bad, evil, terrible things that are happening that like, in the moment we feel like there's nothing we can do about it. But just like, we still have to just like, well, I just got to go to work. I got to support my family. I got to support, the things that I want to do and create for my family in my life. And, despite this being set in a different time period, here we are just kind of doing the same things, just looking the other way when all this like, injustice are going on, but then just like, focus on our family and then just like trying to live through like any kind of tragedy we all have. So this movie just captures all that very well. And, a lot of people say this movie's not all that. It's not supposed to be like political or make you think about stuff like that. Here to tell you, just like all movies are like that. Technically, you just gotta like actually like look for it and understand it a little better. Like, sure, at the end of the day, like, The Thing is one of the craziest horror films of all time and one of my favorites. It's also, though, still has some political messages within it, as much so this movie does.
James, horror movies shouldn't be politicized whatsoever. Although the genre horror being probably the most political genre there is. I mean, if you even look at Night of the Living Dead, the ending of it, like, come on, bro. Anyways, sorry, just poking a little bit of fun at Damien Leone over there. But yeah, so I would say this movie is one that really caught me off guard, and it kind of sucks that it was released on Netflix because I felt like this would be a really good theatrical experience. And one of the other things I think about like movies that get released on Netflix, like Netflix should have a rule, and this goes forward with Warner Brothers as well probably now, is they should not release or even engage with any movies that are going to be 4:3, because that's the worst viewing experience if you're going to watch it on Netflix, I feel like.
Right, yeah.
Like I feel like 4:3 in the theater is awesome, but like at home on your TV, and even on your TV is okay, but if you were to watch it on your phone, like you're literally getting like a quarter of that screen if you watch like a 4:3 movie on your phone. I'm not saying to watch this movie on your phone, but just there's some people that are probably going to end up watching this 4:3 movie on their phone and being like, dude, I'm like barely seeing anything. I almost feel like I'm looking through a fish tank or something.
Yeah, and I can see this movie looking great on the screen. Like, I am jealous of people who got to see it in theaters. It's a movie I would have loved to have seen in theaters. It's not a movie that I'd say would have worked for everyone in theaters and probably would have been a bust with not too big a crowds to go see it. But this is a movie that, like, catches our attention. Any, like, film lovers that are really into just, like, atmosphere, cinematography, great dialogue through voiceover, and also just great dialogue through the conversations, too. Even though this movie doesn't have there is a lot of conversation, but there is still a lot of silence within the movie. Just does really well. Fun fact, Amazon Theater, they have a theater here in LA. It used to be, if you're familiar in the LA area, there was a ArcLight Theater in Culver City, but Amazon bought it. And I haven't been to it yet, but they opened the first 8K screen theater. It's not a screen with a projector. It is a full-on just big TV screen that's just everything's in 8K. So this is a movie that like I can imagine I would have loved to see and capture the colors properly and stuff. So but Amazon's a Netflix rival, so I doubt that would ever happen in any world. But yeah,
it would be cool though. I know what you're saying, like, because that kind of reminded me, I saw Avatar recently, and it wasn't 8K or anything like that, but it was screened on like some laser projection that people were saying, oh, if you got this laser projection, this is the best way to see Avatar. And the colors were awesome. Like, so I would say it's kind of along the lines of that, where it's like an 8K screen is probably going to be that level where it's just got like the best, you know, color. But anyways, getting back to Train Dreams, I'd say if you have Netflix, definitely don't do yourself a disservice and check this movie out, because I thought that this was extremely enjoyable. I've been reading the audiobook, and it's very well done, and it's kind of it's similar enough to the movie, but the movie took enough like liberties, or like didn't, you know, it's a book versus a movie, so they're gonna have more time in the book obviously. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and this is probably like one of those kind of sleeper picks I feel like for the year, because I feel like this is going to go under a lot of people's radars.
Yeah, and I can see it maybe like, you know, kind of people overlooking it on Netflix, but hopefully, I mean, I don't see why it won't, but it should get some Oscar contention, I'd say, and hopefully that brings in some new life and just a lot more newer viewers to check it out too, just because I'm not seeing too many people talk about it. I am seeing it luckily being advertised on the homepage of Netflix, but, you know, my algorithm's very different from the everyday person who uses it to watch, you know, constant reruns of their favorite TV show. Nothing against that, but just hope you give this movie a chance, because yeah, I highly recommend it. If you do have a Netflix account, definitely check it out. Great way to help support the show. After seeing the movie, just let us know what you thought in the comments below.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, catch all our social media links down below. We have links to Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, also our own personal letterbox accounts. That'll be it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.